I am Jukka Mohonen, and I'm from Tridify, and my idea today is go through a little bit about what Tridify is about and how we help you guys to bring BIM models to the Unity and showcase how the real-time visualization works with them. So this is a basic workflow of Tridify. It's separated on two main components. It's a Tridify cloud processing tool. That's a website that we provide you guys to upload our BIM models, and the cloud service will process it for you to import in Unity. So another part is the BIM Tools, what we provide in Unity plugin. With that, you can import the model, do BIM data searches, material mapping, light generation, and another BIM data related issues. So what I'm gonna firstly do is showcase you guys how the cloud processing works. So I'm gonna go to my browser and log into Convert Tridify Go, which is our cloud service. It's totally free if you have a small model. So there's 30 megabyte free version of it. So you can log in and create your own account and try it for free. So now that we are logged into our cloud service, we can see that I have a capacity of on my plan for 10 gigabytes, but as a default, when you first time log in, when you are created the account, it's going to be 30 megabytes. So you can always upgrade your plan and buy a subscription. So what you can do here is create projects. What that means that once you create a project here, you can invite people to upload the models or get access to your BIM models whenever or wherever they need it. My files is this is my project, the basic project that I have, and it's only have me as a member, but that's also where I can invite people. So what I can do now is what we do take in is the IFC models. That means that you can export them from Revit or ArchiCAD or any CAD modeling tool. So I have one ready here. I'm gonna select an file and upload it to our cloud service. It depends on how fast your net connection is. That's how long it's going to take an upload. Once it's uploaded, it goes to the validation queue and start validating. What that means that it checks is it's really a solid IFC model. That means that there's no problems with it or there's no issues found from the model itself. Once it's validated, since it's already done, I'm going to go check it out, what's inside there. It says that there's a different types of objects in even one building and multiple stories on the building, actually 11 stories. So there's other data also there, but currently those are not relevant yet. So what we do now is we're going to start new conversion. That means that what happens with this IFC file, we are going to create formats for the Unity developer to import in their projects. So what I'm going to do is once I start the conversion, I can select different options here. The base option, which is always on, is split by story. That means that it's going to be the whole model is split by different story by story, so you can get better data management on that side. If you want to use the other option, what it does is actually helps you just to manage the data inside the Unity projects. It's usually this. What it does is it actually creates from upper floor a ceiling for the lower floor, and then everything is available for you as a closed spaces without you actually doing anything. So I'm gonna leave that off because I don't need that in this project, but I'm gonna start the conversion, and it's going to go for a queue and takes a little bit time to get through the conversion. But usually this depends on the size of the model, from a couple of minutes to 20 minutes around. Depends on totally on your project size. But once we have done that, and actually it just started conversion, I have already converted some model. Let's not wait for the conversion to finish. We can come back to it later if we need to. But I'm gonna show in Unity now what you need to do. So from the asset store, you can download Tridify BIM Tools. It's a free version of it. There's no commercial version of it. Everything on asset store from us is free. So once you have imported that, you get this Tools and Tridify menu. So from here, you get to go to the conversion project, and we can access the files from the cloud service. So there was actually a question about integrity of uploaded data and where it's stored and who has access and security in general. So in our cloud service, only one who's uploading the file on the cloud service has an access to it. But if you add more people to your project, they have the same access as you have. So that's the way to share the models to your colleagues or to the team or whoever you need to. The files themselves are in our Amazon cloud. They are not straight accessible using any URLs or anything like that. So only way to access those files is through our service, and the files itself has no straight access without any security authentication. That's done only through our web service. So that way, if you think about uploading your files in there, they are fully secured because our security team is an AWS security team. So we are using the latest security protocols what AWS is currently providing. So come to back to the Unity. So what I'm here going to do is I'm gonna access my models from the cloud service. I'm gonna use the same credentials that I used to log in to the cloud service. And then I'm getting all my projects here visible. So I put my newest conversion in my files, and actually what I can see is actually it went already through the conversion, so we can test that out. So let's take the model in. What I'm doing is just selecting my file that I've converted. Then I'm gonna look at what's going on the conversion itself. So these are because I selected as a default split by building story. That means that all the levels of the building are in a separate tree, and then inside every tree there is all the object split by object type in there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just select all and load them in. With that, you can decide on if you don't want to import spaces or some columns or whatever you decide. You don't need to import. You just import only those things you need. So usually I leave spaces off because I don't need them in the Unity environment because I'm using VR. But you might use them for data purposes or whatever you decide on using them. Also, some of the internal structure element I'm not gonna import if I don't need them. So please be careful what you are actually importing. If you don't need them, there's no use to bring it in Unity. But if you don't care you want to have everything in there, just import everything and then decide afterwards what you're gonna do. So this is gonna take us like 20 seconds to get everything in, and let's see how it's gonna look. while it's importing, it's actually bringing back not only the models themselves, but also all the BIM data that you have available on the model, original BIM model. So now that we have imported it, we can check it out what it actually looks like from the hierarchy point of view. So let's see. It has a project, and then it has a, let's put the inspector on so we can see what's going on. So we have IFC project, that's a project of the building. Then we have a IFC site, that means that there's one site only on this file. Then we have an IFC building, so meaning that there's a building in there, just one building on the one site. So this is exactly the same hierarchy that you might have in Revit or ArchiCAD or whatever BIM tool you're using. So underneath here we have different levels, and underneath there we have all the object that was IFC members or plates or doors or whatever was in the building itself. So now what we can do is we can check out what kind of data we bring in with the model itself. So let's select one window here and go on the right hand side for the inspector. So what we can see here is actually it knows it's a window, and it has all the properties what you set on the BIM modeling tool. So it has properties of window common, and it knows it's an external window, and there's reference files and names and product data or whatever you had in originally. It's all here. So now that that's settled, what we can do with it is find things. So with the Tridify search tool, let me just find that. There we go. I'm gonna put it in bottom here. So we can find different things from the search tool. So let's think about finding all the walls of the whole building once. So just write wall and search and select, and there we go. We have found all the walls on the whole building just using one search. What that means also that what we can do is predefine or save searches. So because I want to create colliders for the whole building really fast, I need to find all the floor elements and all the walls, and so I'm gonna add colliders. So let's find all the floor elements. Actually, I have predefined search in here bottom. Just click that. As you can see, all the floor elements found on the whole building is found with the one click. And then I'm gonna add all the colliders. Let's put the box collider. It's the easiest way to here. Box collider. Now we have colliders on the all the four elements. Also, let's put the wall elements colliders on there. Those I have predefined search for that, so you can find all these walls are ready. Here we're gonna add a component, and I'm gonna add a mesh collider. Let's put that in there. Now we have added colliders. That means that we can walk around in there and going through the whole building without going through the walls or the floors. So what we can also do is let's think about the data management itself. So let's think about how do you find all the doors. Well, luckily the doors know that they are doors, so just finding the one door, one search, and you find all the doors easily without any issues at all. Or more interesting things, we can search IFC properties. So what this means that, let's say I want to find all the external parts of the whole building. So I know that as a default Revit and ArchiCAD adds an is external parameter on all the external parts. So external and is true. Search and select. There we go. All the windows, doors, whatever ceiling elements that are external can be found really fast, really easily. So this means that you might have an area model around the building, and you just find all the external or internal parts and delete them because you just want to see them the outside of the building itself. So what you can also do is find, if you don't know what kind of elements you have, just click on the 3 buttons here and you can see all the different types of objects on this scene. Also, what we do provide for the search tool, you can actually find game objects or GUIDs or names or whatever you have, tags, layers. All these can be found. This was just to help us out with the finding objects, and even we have this find inactive game objects also. You can tap that, and if you have deactivated normal searches, don't find it, but with our search tool you can find those too. So that was the search tool and the data management. All this data is also available to the same SDK that I'm showing here, that you can use that as in runtime. So if you want to search things to runtime or select things to runtime, you can do that too using the BIM data and our search SDK. So now we added the colliders. The end result we want to have an application that we are going to work on. So what we need to do is make it pretty now. So what we need to add is materials. So I went to our material replacement tool. So what this does is gives you all the materials what also are in the original model. There's also this tab that show only IFC materials. So once you have, you might bring in like your object or whatever game object you bring in. All those materials are also showing here. So this is not only about the CAD materials. You can it actually finds all the materials on the scene, and if you want to change them to something else, this is the easy way to do it. So what I can do here is just select one materials, and that now it's going to be replaced. The brick common is going to be replaced with the Tridify sample brick material. Well, you can go whole way for each and every one of these, but luckily I've already saved my mapping file from the previous project, so I can load it again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load my mapping file, so I don't need to go through each and every one. So what you can do with this is that you just save it every time. You accumulate your material mapping file as you go through the projects, and usually after a couple of projects you don't need to, just only thing that you do is you load the mapping file, and that's it. So now that I'm gonna put it in here so you can see the effect. So I'm gonna just apply it to the scene, all my mappings, and it's gonna take a second to go through all the materials, and there we go. Since all the UV maps is already done in the cloud service, these 1 meter by 1 meter textures are gonna go nicely through the conversion and the mapping itself. So now we can see that all the tiles are looking nice, and all the inside scenes are quite nicely mapped. So now we have done that. So we have material set, we have collider set. What we need now is lights. So let's go to the Tridify floor lighting tool. So what it does is it shows you level by level how the building is created, and inside each and every one it finds floor and a ceiling elements. So what this means that for each floor, each story, you need to have a floor elements and ceiling elements, so it's a closed space. So these ceiling elements actually is a floor elements from the upper level. So that way you don't need to go and find them by yourself, because this is automatically done for you. Also, there's a blocking object. What this means that the blocking object are the walls inside that level. So that means that you can't create the light on top of wall because it's gonna create bad looking shadows and bad rendering when you are making it. So that's what these are for. Also, if you have furnishing elements like cupboards on the sides of the room or something like that, those are the blocking objects also. Those are automatically added. Usually this also adds blocking object as if you have stairs there. So if you want to have staircase lit with the different way, you just remove the blocking object. So we can also see, let's take like level 6 and go check out what does it mean that which are selected as a ceiling. So we can select, sorry, these are floors, so there's just one floor element on a whole area in there, and then ceiling elements are the ceiling elements on that floor. On blocking object, let's look at them. The blocking objects are actually all the walls and columns inside the room and the stairs itself. So these are all done automatically. Now what we are gonna do is we are gonna generate floor lighting, but what that means is it actually creates an emissive planes on top of the ceiling. So just underneath the ceiling there's gonna be emissive planes that you are gonna be baked. So there's also a lot of settings what you can set from the settings menu, but usually just try it out first and see how it's gonna look, and then decide if you want to tweak it. These are what we usually use in our projects. So I'm just gonna create the floor lighting and let's see how it goes through. So on this floor lighting tool, whenever you see things are green, everything's okay. When it's red, it can't find something. Since the level 00 has one thing on red, it actually means that there's no floor in here, but the problem with it is actually it is the ground, only ground in there. So let's see what we created. So I'm gonna just close that down. Let's take the same level 6 and I'm gonna hide top floors so we can see what's going on. So here we go. I'm gonna put gizmos smaller because we don't want to show them yet. So it creates this emissive light group for each floor, and here are the created lights inside each and every room on this 6th floor. So in here you can see that nothing goes on top of the blocking object. So walls, there's no lights on top of walls or columns, and it creates different sizes of emissive planes according to the size of the area that they are set in. So if you have a small room, you're gonna get a small light in there. If you have a bigger area available, then it's gonna have a bigger light there. You can also combine these as a one object and bake them, or just bake them as it is. But what I'm gonna next show you is what we do also. We are doing the light probes. So everybody probably who doesn't know what light probe is that's an object that gives you ability to have an light effect on moving object. So if you have an object on one end that has a blue light and another end of the room is a yellow light, when the object moves from blue to yellow, it's going to get more yellowish according to the light probes. So if you want to click that again, so you get a better view of what's going on. So in here, I'm going to put gizmos a little bit smaller. So each and every one of these points in here are light probes. So that we create something like 20,000 light probes in one of these buildings, probably probably 100 or something like that per. I actually no clue how many we create, but depends on the size of the room. And you can also define that how how close are each light probe. So you can create really huge light probe cages if you need to automatically. So now that these are done, what we can do is bake them. So only thing, I don't think that's a good idea to start baking. It might take a while, but luckily I have a project that I already baked this, so I'm gonna show you guys the same model with the baked lights, and let's see how it looks. There we go. So this is the automatically baked automatic lights. The bake is done, and here we go, get the basic internal lights on the whole building automatically. So now we have set lights, we have set materials. What we need to do is only just drag a camera, walk around, and you have a game ready model with you. So this is how the whole process of the Tridify BIM tools and conversion works. Also, if you are interested in other things, what we do is also help you guys on another way on our conversion service. So I'm gonna show you our newest feature, what we provide on the cloud service itself. When you click on your converted model, you have possibility of web publishing. What this means that once you click this publish button, you are going to get an URL where you can actually view your model straight away without you doing anything. So let's see how my model looks on our viewer. This is straight from the IFC model that I uploaded without any work from anything. So there we go. Now we have a model that was exactly on the from the IFC, and it has the same IFC data that I had on the Unity itself. So this is our newest product, and this is on a beta phase, but this is one thing you can guys check it out when you have time and try the conversion itself. But back to the Unity, if there's also possibilities that you might have problems with the BIM data or things like that. So like for the light generation, you can go through floor by floor and select anything if you want to, or use the in real time use the BIM data if you need to. Even the material mapping file mapping feature is going to be soon out as an SDK, so you can run it real time too. And also the data is going to be the imported data is going to be available on runtime if you need to in near future. So all these functionalities and things are going to be available through SDKs and APIs, so you can try it out and test it. Thank you guys for joining. This was just a brief introduction on how the Tridify BIM tools and cloud service works. Also, if you think about HD render pipelining, the same thing applies. The lights can be changed to HD render lights, or materials can be used as an HD render material, so it doesn't matter which materials you are using. All the tools works exactly the same in both systems. Thank you, and there's going to be new webinars coming out soon, so check us out, and thank you very much. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.